Hello everyone, this is Dr. Swapnil Mane, a gynec endoscopic surgeon working at SAIDHAM Hospital, Rauri, District Ahmednagar, Maharashtra. Today we are going to discuss how to make TLH trolley and what are the instruments in that trolley. Total near about 20 instruments are needed for the TLH trolley. It may differ as per surgeon to surgeon, but at here SAIDHAM we commonly use the 20-21 instrument in the trolley. This is the bipolar instrument, endocoagulation cutter. Then this is a traumatic Alice forceps. This is a traumatic ball grasper. This is a traumatic Alice. Simple lap scissor. This is the bipolar forceps. This is 0-degree laparoscope. This is 30-degree laparoscope. One 10 mm trocar, 3 5 mm trocar, trumpet suction cannula, then MIMA screw. This is curved lap needle holder. This is a tooth forceps or tooth needle holder. Vicryl number 1, 45 centimeter. Schroeder's uterine manipulator, colpotomizer or vaginal tube, scalpel, blade number 11 to 13, then tooth forceps. These are the open instrument, needle holder, Stilis, Alice forceps, sponge holder, automatic valserum, mop, and 3 to 4 gauze pieces and kidney tray. These are the instruments needed for the TLH trolley, total laparoscopic hysterectomy trolley. We'll discuss one by one. Among the energy sources, we routinely use this bipolar instrument. This is called the endocoagulation cutter. So this is used for the coagulation and cutting of the tissues, including vessels. See, there are two leaves of the instrument or two probes of the instrument. The current moves from the one probe to another probe, so that it coagulates the proteins, it chars the proteins, and ultimately tissue is charred. And same instrument is used in dissection mode, that is cutting mode, for the cutting in the small bites. The tissues up to 7 mm can be coagulated with this instrument, and for the cutting we have to take the bites of 2 to 3 mm at least for cutting, with smaller bites for the cutting. And vessels, ideally 5 mm vessels can be coagulated with this endocoagulation cutter instrument. Okay. Then what is the basic principle for this one vessel coagulation? As you know, the vessel wall contains collagens fibers, elastic fibers. So after pressing the instrument, basically it will cause the sealing of that vessel, and ultimately the blood flow stops, and it all causes the devascularization distal part. Ideally 5 mm. Above 5 mm we have to use the endo clips. There are different sizes like green, yellow, blue. We have to use endo clips above 5 mm vessel. Okay. This is very nice instrument. This instrument, endocoagulation cutter, can be used for 15 to 20 cases ideally. After 20 cases, you can discard the instrument, and you can discard the instrument, and this insert can be changed. See, this is a handle, this is fulcrum, insert and shaft. This instrument is totally open. This is insert. After 20 surgeries, insert can be changed. See how it fits in the shaft. This is the ball, and balls fit in the socket. And instrument is locked. For dismantling the instrument, such a things should be done. See, instrument is ready. Here is the joint, and here is the bipolar cable is connected. And after dismantling the instrument, after surgery, we have to put this solution in the SAIDHAM solution for the next use. Before putting in the SAIDHAM solution, we have to clean the instrument. Okay. Suppose surgery is over, then dismantle the instrument, clean it, and put it under fan for 12 to 24 hours at least for complete drying of the instrument. With the help of dryer, we can dry the instrument or complete put in the ceiling fan. And next day, oil the instrument, reassemble the instrument, and keep it in the formalin chamber for 12 to 24 hours. And before whenever the surgery start, half an hour before, remove the instrument from the formalin chamber and put it in the SAIDHAM solution. That is, SAIDHAM solution is a glutaraldehyde solution that is available. We keep it SAIDHAM solution in the SAIDHAM tray. And after 14 surgeries, there is a rule that SAIDHAM solution should be changed. So this is a very nice instrument, endocoagulation cutter. Some people call it as a cutter, but scientific name is endocoagulation cutter. That fits into any bipolar cautery. Second instrument, this is traumatic Alice forceps. Again, the shaft, insert, handle, ratchet. These are the traumatic instrument. The tissue will be traumatized, and to hold the uterus after the hysterectomy or after the colpotomy, hold the uterus and make the uterus out, or tissue to hold any hard tissue, that is or it can be used in the morcellator to remove the uterus from the ports. This is traumatic one. See, if I hold this instrument to my finger, it may cause trauma. Ideally, any instrument, this instrument, this is 36 centimeter long. In average Indian size patient, the 36 centimeter long instruments are used, and if it is a morbidly obese patient, if there is big abdomen, then we need a instrument of 45 centimeter. Length should be 45 centimeter. In normal size abdomen, 36 centimeter length of the instrument will be sufficient for that. Okay. How to hold this instrument? See, my index finger will be in this one. My ring finger will be here. My little finger will act on the ratchet to close the instrument, and middle finger will guide, and the index finger will ease the movement of the shaft. See, in such a way the instrument will be held. Ring finger here, thumb finger here, my little finger will act for the shaft, act for the ratchet basically, and index finger will guide the movement of the instrument. And while moving the instrument, it should be closed, and the instrument should not, the probes should not touch any important structure in the abdomen. Any instrument of lap surgeries should be held in such a way. If you want to hold the instrument for the long time, then close the ratchet with little finger and hold and leave it on it will hang by its own weight. Okay. In such a way the instrument is held. Similarly, traumatic ALICE, this instrument is much commonly used in the total laparoscopic hysterectomy to hold the EV folds, then to catch up any anterior posterior lip or broad ligament, or to hold any structure. It is traumatic, very safe to use this instrument. Then by catching the instrument, the holding pattern is similar for the all instrument. The ring finger here, thumb here, middle here, index will guide the movement basically, and the little finger will close the ratchet. In such a way, these instruments are used. After dismantling the instrument, we should not forget that the instrument should not be exchanged, that one insert will connected will be another instrument. We should take care after dismantling instrument, the parts of the same instrument should fit in the same instrument, because same company part will be fit in the better way. The other company parts may be mismatched and it may cause trouble during the next surgery. So dismantle, those person OT assistant will be dismantling, should be careful about this thing after the surgery. This is the scissor, simple scissor. Here is the fulcrum or joint. Then whole mechanism will act as a type 1 lever. This will act as a lever. Fulcrum will be the joint of the scissor. Nowadays the hook scissors are always better. These scissors are used to cut tissues, okay, but during cutting it may not be stable, and the small precise cut if you need, then hook scissor should be used. And the ratchet handle should not be used for the scissor. During dismantling, the same procedure, this will insert will be disconnected, okay, and ball and socket mechanism here for the scissor also. Scissor will be needed to cut the thread after vault suturing, to cut the tissues after coagulation, okay. Due to endocoagulation cutter, that same instrument will do both the activities, coagulation and cutting. So scissor has a role to cut only the threads after vault closure. This is only sharp instrument we are using in the total laparoscopic. This is simple bipolar forceps, simple bipolar instrument. Some years back, this was the only instrument was available for the TLH. We used to coagulate the tissues with this instrument, and we used to cut the tissues with the scissor basically. So generally bipolar instrument has an indicator here. See, we see yellow indicator here. This is endocoagulation cutter, here the pink indicator. This endocoagulation cutter, some people call it as a advanced bipolar, but scientific name is endocoagulation cutter. This simple bipolar forceps, previously this was only available bipolar instrument for the laparoscopy, that's why this name is bipolar. This is called bipolar forceps. But bipolar is very big category, and lots of instrument of bipolar categories are available for the use, like ligature, advanced bipolar, endocoagulation cutter, like ruby dissection instrument. Lots of bipolar instruments are available for today's for the laparoscopic surgeon. This is the 0-degree laparoscope. Here the light source is connected, here the head of the camera is connected, and for the beginners, if your laparoscopic assistant is not mature enough, he doesn't have much knowledge about laparoscopy, you can use the 0-degree laparoscope. This is 10 mm laparoscope. So the light source position will not be much important during the use of this 0-degree laparoscope. The light source position is important during the use of 30-degree laparoscope, because as per the light source position, the lens of the laparoscope moves. What is the basic difference between the 0-degree and 30-degree laparoscope? What are the advantage and disadvantage of the scope is? In 0-degree laparoscope, the axis of vision and axis of laparoscope matches, okay, like car's headlight, the light projected in one direction only, okay. it has little disadvantage that if you would like to focus on certain area, certain precise area for the coagulation, cutting, whatever the manipulation is required, maneuver is required, but this will focus in the single direction, only single direction. Whatever tissue will be focused in the straight light or the what you call the constant beam of light will be ejected from the lens. In 30-degree, the direction of light source will be inclined 30-degree to the axis of the laparoscope. The axis of vision is 30-degree to the axis of the scope. That is why this is called as a 30-degree. See, slanting lenses are seen here. Okay. If you want to see the anterior surface of the uterus, I will hold like this. If you want to see the posterior surface, I have to rotate the light source cable below. If you want to see the right uterine artery, I will hold like this. If you want to see the left uterine artery, I will hold like this. So such a thing, but precisely your assistant is expert, camera person is expert, then we should use this 30-degree laparoscope. It is always better, and lens has to be cleaned before the use of this laparoscope, and we can keep the laparoscope in the formalin chamber for the disinfection, but we should be very careful. We should give the instruction to the paramedics and the OT assistant that lens should not be damaged. Lens is the main part of the laparoscope. Immediately after surgery, the doctor or the OT assistant should clean the lenses with the water and with the disinfectant and immediately put it into the formalin chamber. Do not mix the laparoscope with the other instrument, because the lens of the laparoscope, if it accidentally get collided with another instrument, it may be damaged and it would cause a great loss. Near what cost is about 1 to 1.25 lakhs is the cost of the laparoscope. The laparoscope of the Storch, Stryker are the best one in the market to use, but another local vendor also produces a good laparoscope, so you can purchase from any company. But yesterday I said that the vision is very important for us. That's why laparoscope should belong to Storch or Stryker. These are the they are imported companies, and the vision, their vision are not comparable to any local vendor. So we should not compromise in any steps related to the vision of the surgery. Okay, this is 10 mm trocar. This is cannula trocar. Trocar is sharp end, cannula is the outer sheath. Some people call it as an insert trocar. Then this is outer washer. I will open it. Neck, body and shaft of the trocar. The length is 20 centimeter and 5 mm trocar little shorter. Length is near about 16 centimeter. Length of the trocar is whole complex, we call it as a trocar, and actually ideally the inner part is insert or trocar. Then we will remove this. This has to be dismantled very carefully. It has inner wall. This wall will act as a, see, this is one sided opening wall, unilateral wall. Shaft can be separated from the body. After surgery, this has to be dismantled and thoroughly cleaned. That is very important. Again, I am reassembling all the parts of the trocar, outer washer and the insert. Okay, this is the CO2 wall, basically open close, open close. We use here at SAIDHAM hospital the direct trocar entry technique. So we will first lift the abdomen, and it will cause the peritoneal tenting, because the peritoneum is stuck up around the umbilicus. So infraumbilical part will lift. After lifting the infraumbilical part, we will insert the trocar after taking 10 mm incision supraumbilically 1.5 to 2 centimeter above the umbilicus, and you will insert the trocar. How to hold this trocar? See, middle finger here, index finger here, and the thenar prominence will push the trocar. So thenar prominence will push the trocar, index finger will guide the directions of the trocar, and the middle finger will act as a control valve mechanism. It will act as a safety mechanism. So such a thing trocar will be hold, because this has a serration. Serrated 10 mm trocars are always better one. Will lift the skin of the patient with the maximum extent. Assistant and surgeon will lift the skin, infraumbilical part of the skin, so that peritoneum will be tenting and there is lesser chances of inserting the trocar extraperitoneally. It will go inside the abdomen. And by lifting the skin, it also, our angle should be safer. Ideally in laparoscopy principles, the trocar insertion should be at 45 degree, and lifting the skin, angle will be reduced and we are safer, we are away from the important structures. By lifting the skin, this will be the directions of the trocar. In a trocar, either 5 mm, 7 mm, 10 mm, 12 mm should be held in such a way. This is CO2 wall. Thenar eminence will push the insert. Index finger will guide the direction, and middle finger will act as a control wall. So it should be moved. First trocar is the blind trocar. So very cautiously it has to be inserted. Some people are using the Veress needle prior to the trocar insertion, and some people using as a direct trocar entry technique. Here at SAIDHAM we use a direct trocar entry technique. In whatever the principal mechanism, after inserting the Veress needle or a trocar, we should see the CO2 insufflator for the rise in the abdominal pressure. If suddenly rises the pressure, then it seems that we are extraperitoneal. If there is slowly gradual rise of pressure, then we are inside the abdomen. Okay. Then this height is 16 centimeter. 3 5 mm trocars are sufficient in TLH Trolly. Trocar cleaning is very important. In medical legal point of view, the primary trocar entry, if there is some complication to primary trocar entry, there is pardonable, but in secondary trocar entry the injury is not pardonable because it is 100% under feature. How to lesser the complication of trocar entry technique? That after lifting the abdomen, tenting of peritoneum, and the proper insertion of this one in the 45 degree to the horizontal plane, this is very important to reduce the complication rate. We should take the one supraumbilical port and three ports in different direction. We'll discuss the port positions in the next session. The next I will move on to the next instrument. This is suction irrigation cannula, will be called trumpet suction irrigation cannula. So this is irrigation, suction. Okay, the irrigation part always here and the suction part always here. Suction part, the suction tubing should be connected to the suction irrigation cannula. It should be parallel to the suction irrigation cannula, and the irrigation part, whatever the IV side, TRP side should be connected here. So pressing this button, it will irrigate. It will cause the sprinkling, and pressing this button will cause the suction. So these are the trumpet suction is a very ideal one. Another use of suction irrigation cannula is to dissect the UV fold, that is another section. To suck the minor tissues, that is another function. Also manipulation in the abdomen, reposition of intestines, to manipulate the uterus. These are the different functions there for the suction irrigation cannula. Generally 1 liter normal saline will be connected to the IV set, and IV set should be connected here in suction cannula. There are 10 mm, 5 mm sections are available. This is 5 mm section cannula. This is MIMA screw. Here we use the MIMA screw technique for the TLH for manipulation. We use the MIMA screw for the manipulation. There are two different types of TLH basically. Some people use a Schrodinger's manipulator. Some people use a MIMA screw for the uterine manipulation. There are two different techniques. These two techniques has a pros and cons. In MIMA screw techniques, we got a good manipulation. Whatever part of manipulation can be adjusted by this MIMA screw, and stretching is best given by the MIMA screw. As you know, the stretching is the principle of the bipolar. The stretched tissue, bipolar cutter, bipolar instrument is going to cut. The stretched tissue is cauterized and cut by the bipolar. So that is the main mechanism. The stretching is the best provided by the MIMA screw technique. So here we'll use the MIMA screw for the manipulation. Generally, MIMA screw should be inserted perpendicular to the surface Some people use to cauterize the left superior part of the uterus and right anterior part of the uterus, okay, and will insert the perpendicular. Whatever the organ you are inserting the myma screw, that myma screw should be toward the surface of that uterus and will mobilize it, mobilize the uterus in such a way that it will become maximum in perpendicular direction to the myma screw. After putting the myma screw in the perpendicular direction to the uterus, then it is handed over to the assistant, basically, or camera person, okay. And in one lecture, next to next lecture, we'll discuss the different myma screw positions also. So it is very traumatic instrument, so it should be very careful while giving traction. The assistant should be versed about the positions of the myma screw. That is very important. The next instrument is curved needle holder. This is curved needle holder. This is very nice for the knotting. These are near about 40 centimeter instrument, and in left hand we should take the tooth needle holder or tooth forceps, and right hand we should take the curved needle holder. In left hand, some people prefer the Maryland, some people will prefer the forceps, whatever their comfort, but here we use curved needle holder in the right hand and the tooth needle holder in the left hand, on the left side of the patient, okay. Then this is the vicryl thread, 45 centimeter, number 1 vicryl. After opening the foil, we used to take the vicryl of such a size, near about 15 to 18 centimeter size. This much of size of vicryl should be cut for the surgery. Then this is chirurgicus uterine manipulator. First, before surgery, those people using the uterine manipulation for the TLH, this is the ideal instrument. This is medium size chirurgicus uterine manipulator. This manipulator has a multiple roles in the laparoscopic gynec surgery, mainly TLH, cystectomy, ectopic pregnancy, tuboplasty, tubal ligation, lots of surgeries. This is benefit. For the insertion of this instrument, the cervix has to be dilated up to 8 mm, and this should be inserted prior surgery, and this will fit in the uterine cavity. This will fit in the uterine cavity, and after fitting it, whatever the position you want, anteversion, retroversion, side positions for the uterine arteries, the cutting the broad ligaments, these positions can be given. Very nice instrument. The fear about use of this instrument is the perforation. Some the beginners can perforate the uterus, and later on it may cause the leakage of CO2 in the uterine cavity, and it may cause a trouble for this. So this was the beginning. The chirurgicus manipulation can be used. Very nice instrument for the use in the TLH or different procedures. Okay. Very simple instrument, very handy instrument. This is the colpotomizer, medium size colpotomizer. Some people will call it as a vaginal tube. So after if you are using chirurgicus manipulator at the time of the uterus retrieval, specimen retrieval, you can insert this inside the abdomen, or tenaculum can be inserted to catch out the cervix, and wall cutting will be better. For wall cutting, you can use monopolar or bipolar instruments. So this will be support for the UV fold separation. After cutting and coagulating the uterine artery, we can use this vaginal tube. Okay, though cervix will be here, this part will be fit in the all furnaces of the uterus, and over that you can separate the UV fold, and you can cut the wall easily over that. So this will act as a support for the UV fold separation and the wall cutting. Okay, this will be, and here we can use the finger to prevent the wall leakage. We can put the tenaculum, you can put the mop here to prevent the leakage. As per your comfort, people are using, but these two instruments will be used for the vaginal manipulation technique, TLH. When you use a vaginal manipulator, we will use it. In vaginal manipulation technique, there are 3 assistants required. The third assistant, vaginal assistant, is required from the beginning. And in myma screw techniques, only 2 assistants will be sufficient. And after the vault opening, the specimen separation, we will introduce the third specimen. So we find it after over the years, after the laparoscopic surgery, we find it that myma screw technique is always better. We use here dissection technique in the myma screw technique, because the complication is less, stretch is more, and everything is under vision. Though little difficult, the mime screw technique may be very little difficult for the beginners to adjust, beginners to understand, but once you adapt it, there will be zero complication rate in the lifetime. This is the routine instrument scalpel, tooth needle holder to close the port closure needle can be applied, stillage, forceps, Alice, sponge holder, this one the valsalum, mop, and 2 to 3 gauze piece, and 11 to 15 needle. So in short, I have discussed all the instruments about TLH, how to make the TLH trolley. Those such instruments are needed for the TLH trolley. And this one thing I forgot, this bipolar, simple bipolar forceps, this ideally has to be used for the uterine artery coagulation. Uterine artery should be coagulated with this instrument only, because cutter if you use, and while using cutter, if you press the tissue accidentally and uterine artery may bleed, so better to use patiently the bipolar forceps for the uterine artery coagulation. Full coagulation should be done, and this, as you know, these are both the bipolar instrument. The principle of bipolar instrument is intermittent coagulation. Catch hold and coagulate it intermittently. Intermittent burst we should coagulate. Intermittent coagulation is very important. We should not catch hold the tissue and coagulate it more than 3, 4, 5 seconds. Otherwise, it will cause charring, and charred tissue may bleed. Charred tissue may give rise to superimposed infection in post-operative period, and it may be responsible for the infection, septicemia, and the cutting will be difficult. So, and charring will also damage the instrument. The probes of the instrument may be damaged by the charring. So, better doctor, be careful. Whatever tissue you are coagulating, hold it loosely and press the bipolar or ligation mode. Press the button for 3 seconds. Always just hold the this one for the coagulation. Just hold loosely the tissue and then press the handle, then press the paddle of the cautery bipolar. And for cutting, take a small bites and you should little press the instrument so that it will cut. Cutter in smaller bites, and you can coagulate up to 7 mm tissue in larger chunks basically. So this is very important to know understand the techniques. Okay, and loose wholly, start the paddle or press the paddle and do the next activity. That is very important. Okay, very nice instrument. Bipolar is very nice, very traditional instrument for the uterine artery coagulation. Whatever in TLH, if you are using harmony, endocutter, whatever you are using, monopolar, but uterine artery should be coagulated with this instrument. We generally avoid the monopolar instrument. Every manual instrument is basically monopolar. See, here is a knob. This knob indicates that it can be connected to any monopolar cautery. Any instrument can act as a monopolar, but we avoid using this monopolar instrument because lateral spread of the monopolar instrument is near about 8 to 10 mm. That is a larger one. So the beginners may give rise to fistula. The heat may be passed to the bladder, ureter. It may unnecessarily cause complication. So whole surgery can be finished with the endocoagulation cutter or bipolar cutter. Okay. If you are using harmony for the uterine artery coagulation, use this simple bipolar. If you are using the monopolar, use this one. Anything, but uterine artery should be coagulated perfectly in 3 to 4 places with this instrument only, bipolar instrument. That is very important. After dismantling the instrument, after surgery, first the scope, variety scope or histoscope, whatever surgery, scope has to be washed cleanly, immediately put in the formalin chamber. Do not mix the scope with the other instrument, otherwise it will collide and it will damage. And after the dismantling all instrument, cleaning properly with the brush, put under fan or with the dryer, you can dry this instrument and keep under fan after 12 to 24 hours. And next day morning, oil it, clean it, check the instrument and again put it in the formalin chamber, and from formalin chamber to Sedex solution. Okay. And another the sharp instrument used in the TLH is scissor and mime screw. And after specimen separation, the Alice forceps, pneumatic Alice is introduced. Very less role of sharp instrument in the TLH, and the cleaning of the trocar is very important. There is a dirt. If we don't get clean trocar, that may become the source for the infection, source for the port side tuberculosis. That may be the factor. So we should dismantle and clean it very thoroughly. That is very important. I think today's lecture will be sufficient for the TLH to make the TLH trolley. Also, we are enclosing the list of the instrument for the TLH trolley. So be aware that this instrument should be important. We should have minimum this instrument, near about 20 instrument before proceeding for the TLH. Thank you so much.